Hello everyone, in this lecture we'll be discussing the syllabus of ethics in detail, so let us begin. At first we have ethics and human interface. In this we have essence, determinant and consequences of ethics in human actions. Then we have dimensions of ethics and ethics in private and public relationship. At first we have what is ethics. You should know the definition of ethics, that it is a set of moral principles. Then how to inculcate ethics. We can inculcate ethics by reading books, by socializing with people. Then we can also watch movies. Then we have how to deal with society in ethical manner, like how to deal with poor, okay, how to deal with transgenders or children in ethical manner. Then we have how do you see whether the action is ethical or not, and what are the principles to follow to ensure that action is ethical. What principles you can follow? You can follow the justice approach, the right based approach, the utilitarian approach, to determine whether the action is ethical or not. Then we have ethics in India, that what is the essence of ethics in India. In this we have various thinkers such as Chanakya, Mahatma Gandhi ji, Rabindranath Tagore. This is ethics in India. Then we have role of ethics and its importance in individual. What is the importance and role of ethics in individual? If an individual is ethical, then he or she may pay taxes, will avoid corruption. Then for politics, why do we need ethics in politics? So to ensure transparency, to ensure accountability. Then why do we need ethics in economic sphere? We need it so that there is no money laundering, there is no insider trading like this. Then we have essence. In essence, we have nature. What is the nature of ethics? Is it absolute or is it relative? Say, if you kill a person, if you kill one person, you will say that it is bad. But suppose if this person is a serial killer and he has already killed 6 people and is going to kill one more people, and if you hand him over to police, you know that he or she may escape from the police custody. Then is it ethical to kill him or will you not kill him? Then it becomes relative ethics. So this is nature. Then we have scope of ethics. What is its scope? What principles can you follow to manage your ethics? Then we have morality versus ethics. What is the difference? See, morality is more or less based on customs, while ethics is based on laws. So this is more formal. Then we have legal versus ethics. What is legal and what is ethical? Suppose we have the debate of abortion. Abortion may be legal, but some people may consider it unethical. So there are various debate of legality versus ethics. Then we have determinants of ethics in human nature. What are the determinants? We have individual level ethics, situational ethics, and other factors like God and religion that determine our ethics. Then what are the consequences of ethics? The various theories in this we have absolutism, etc. And what are its examples? Then we have dimensions of ethics. What are the dimensions of ethics? We have personal dimension, organizational, societal, okay, family dimension, etc. Then we have ethics in public and private life. What are the key principles you will follow to remain ethical? Suppose if there is a conflict of interest case, then what are the key principles you will apply so that you remain ethical in public and private life, and how to promote this ethical behavior? One of the ways in which you can promote is using emotional intelligence. Okay, then we have human values and lessons from lives and teaching of great leaders, reformers and administrators, and role of family and society, society and educational institutes in inculcating these values. At first we have human values. What is the meaning and importance of human values? So what are the human values? Like we have honesty, okay, then we have respect towards elder. These are the various human values. So what is their meaning and what is their importance? That should be known to us. Then we have evolution of values in society, how various values have evolved in society. Say earlier we accepted the parda and sati system, but over the time we have evolved our values and now they have been rejected. Similarly, for LGBTQ community, how our values have evolved. Then we have how do they differ? How do various values differ from each other? Then how are they classified? And there are acquired values. What are the values we acquired from friends, school, media, etc.? Then we have lessons from lives and teachings of great leaders such as Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela. What lessons can we learn from them? Various reformers such as Baba Amte, Raja Ram Mohan Roy, and administrators. In administrators, we can have Ashok Khemka T.N. Seshan, M. Visvesarya. So what lessons can we learn from their life? In this, statements of great personalities may be given to you to explain and apply it in present context. UPSC doesn't want thinkers' point of view, but how much the candidate has analyzed, utilized, and applied the statement. Suppose in Gandhi's 7 sins, say one of the sins is given that work without a wealth without work is bad, and suppose Gandhi is given. This has been quoted in your UPSC exam. So what you have to do is that you have to explain it in present context. Say how wealth without work without wealth is bad. If people want wealth without work, so what they will do? They will do criminal activities. This will lead to drug smuggling, liquor selling, gun running. So this is how wealth without work will affect our society. So this is how you have to explain it in present context. Then we have role of family, society, and educational institutions in inculcating values. What role do each of them play? Say for society, how does it inculcate values such as when we are in family, we learn how do we respect our elders. Okay, family teaches us that we should be polite, something like this. Similarly, in educational institutions, we learn discipline, that we have to do our homework, we have to be punctual, something like this. So what role do they play? What are the types of values inculcated by family, society, and educational institution? Discipline, respect, etc. And the significance of these values. What is the significance of these values on individual and impact of these values on person? Then we have the concept of value education. Okay, so nowadays our education is becoming more and more commercialized, so we need value education concept in our schools. Then we have challenges faced by institutions in imparting these values. What are the challenges faced? Say if a family wants their children to be good, to be polite, etc., but if your friends are not that good, okay, they do drinking, they do smoking, then this family will face difficulty in imparting good values to you. Okay, because you have your friends, you have media nowadays, so you have various sources from you where you can inculcate values. So these are the challenges which these institutions face. Then we have attitude, content, structure, functions, its influence and relation with thought, behavior, moral and political attitude, social influence, and persuasion. This is very important for part 2, that is case study. In this we have attitude. What is the meaning of attitude and what are its components? Three components are ABC: affective, behavioral, and cognitive components. Then we have characteristics. What is the characteristic of attitude? Say it may be good, bad. Okay. Then we have functions. What functions do attitude play? Because of attitude, we may dislike something or we may like something. Then what are the factors affecting attitude change or its formation? Okay, what factors are there which affect our attitude change? We may use social media, we may read books. This is how our attitude may change. Then what is the ideal attitude that a public servant should have? Then we have influence and relation of attitude with thought and behavior, and how both influence each other, how attitude influences thought and behavior, and how thought and behavior influences our attitude. Then we have moral and political attitudes. Okay, ethical versus distorted attitude. Distorted attitude can be said to that you are non you are partisan. This is a distorted attitude. Ethical attitude should be that you should be non-partisan. But suppose if a case is involved in which there is your family member who is accused, or if your wife is accused. So will you be non-partisan or will you be partisan? This is a distorted attitude. Then we have role of society in shaping these attitudes. How do society shape our attitudes? Then types of political ideologies and examples. What are the types of political ideologies that we have? We may have capitalism, socialism, communalism. So these are the types of political ideologies. Then we have social influence. What is the meaning of social influence and what are the factors that affect social influence? Some of the factors are persuasion, propaganda. So these are the factors. Then what are the hindrances in social influence and what are the ways of doing it? Okay, how can you do? Say you can ask the religious leaders, you can ask political leaders, you can ask children to change the social behavior of their parents like this. Then we have, let me rub it. Then we have persuasion, meaning and key elements. What is the meaning of persuasion in the first place? One of the thing in persuasion is that you do not force anyone. You pursue them with the use of propaganda, media, okay, by soft skills. Then what are the key elements of persuasion? I've already told here. And examples on attitude change through persuasion. How persuasion has been used to change attitude. The good example of this can be Swachh Bharat Mission. Then we have Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, as now more and more people are going towards bank. Then methods and persuasion by public servant. What methods can public servant use for persuasion? Suppose if there is a crowd outside your police station, how can you pursue them to disperse? So what method will you use? Then we have persuasion versus manipulation. What is the definition and what is the difference between both of them, that we should know. So this more or less concludes our first part of ethics syllabus discussion. Thank you.